Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and go over the escape room. Make sure you're paying attention so that you know what you need to do tomorrow on your test. Remember, these questions are the exact same ones from your test. Alright, question number 1 says, which expression is equivalent to 2/5 divided by 2/3? So, I know that when I divide fractions, my strategy is to do KCF. So keep that in mind. When you are dividing fractions, you have to do KCF. So that means you're going to keep the first fraction. Division becomes multiplication. And then you flip the second fraction, so it becomes 3/2. And notice how it says which expression, so we do not have to solve it. So which expression matches with mine to the right? So the answer would be C. Number 2. There was 3/8 of a pie left in the fridge. Daniel ate 1/3 of the leftover pie. How much of pie did he have? So my keyword here is of, and of means to multiply. So it says 1/3 of the leftover. So of, we know it means to multiply, and we're going to multiply it by what's left over. And they tell us that he had 3/8 of a pie left. And then all we do is multiply. 1 times 3 is 3, and 3 times 8 is 24. Notice how my answer is not there. Now, that doesn't mean that it's wrong. It needs to, maybe it needs to be simplified. So, since 3 is prime, that means we can only simplify by 3. And 24 can be divided by 3 evenly. So 3 divided by 3 is 1. 24 divided by 3 is 8. So my answer is A. Number 3. What is the product of 2.5 times 4.75? Remember, product is the answer to a multiplication problem. So in order to multiply 2.5 times 4.75, they need to look the same. Now, since my answers are in decimals, I'm going to change them to decimals so that I don't have to convert them at the end. And well, I know that 2.5 is 2.5 or 2.50. Remember that 0 at the end, we can remove to make it easier on us. 2.5 and 2.50 is the same thing. Now, if you didn't know how to change 2 and 1/2 as a decimal, remember the 2 you just bring down to the left of the decimal, and the 1/2 you do typo and you should get 0.5. And now to multiply, the number with the most digits goes on top, and we line up our digits. We don't line up our decimals. And we multiply. 5 times 5 is 25, carry the 2. 5 times 7 is 35, plus 2 is 37. 5 times 4 is 20, plus 3 is 23. I'm done with these. Put my 0 down. 2 times 5 is 10, carry the 1. 2 times 7 is 14, plus 1 is 15, carry my 1. 2 times 4 is 8, plus 1 is 9. We add. 5 plus 0 is 5, 7 plus 0 is 7, 3 plus 5 is 8, 2 plus 9 is 11. And we are not done. We now need to move our decimal. So here we move it 2, and then here we move it once. Don't forget to check both of your numbers. So we need to move it a total of 3 times. So my answer is 11.875. So B. Number 4. Which statement about 2 multiplied by 1/2 must be true? So I'm just going to multiply 2 times 1/2. They need to look the same, so I need to change my 2 to a fraction by putting a 1 underneath. And then we multiply straight across. 2 times 1 is 2. 1 times 2 is 2. And 2 divided by 2 is 1. So now let's look at our answer choices. A says the product, which is my answer, is between 1.5 and 2. Yeah. B, the product is greater than 3. No, 1 is not greater than 3. C, the product is less than a half. Nope, that's not true. It's more. And D, the product is between 2 and 3. Nope. So my answer is A. It is between 1/2 and 2. So now I'm going to take my answer choices, or my answers, C, A, B, A, and that's going to be my code. Alright, now we're on to level 2, our last level. Question 1. Question 1 says, the average surface temperatures of Jupiter, Mars, Earth, and the Moon are shown in the table, or the temperatures from warmest to coldest. So remember, the warmest temperatures are on top, and the coldest are on the bottom. So the higher the number, the greater the number, the warmer the temperature. The lower or the least, the coldest it is. So looking at my table, which one would be the hottest? Which would be a positive number. So that leaves me with C and D. And then C says negative 81 and D says negative 10. So which one of these would be the warmest? And that would be negative 10 because negative 81 would be lower, so it would be colder than negative 10. So the answer would be D. Number 2, Melissa has 3.5 gallons of lemonade. She's going to pour it into 7 cups to share with her friends. How much lemonade will each friend receive? So share tells me I'm going to divide, and the total would be the amount of lemonade. So I am dividing 3.5 divided by 7. And now my answers are in fractions, so I'm going to keep them as fractions. So I'm going to divide them as fractions. So before I do that, before I do KCF, I need to change them both to look like regular fractions. So the first number I need to change to improper. So 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7, so it becomes 7 over 2. My denominator stays the same. Divided by, and notice how I'm rewriting it, the whole entire problem, before I do KCF. Now I need to change 7 to a fraction, and all I need to do is put a 1 underneath. And now I'm ready for KCF. So I'm going to keep my 7 over 2. Division becomes multiplication, and then we flip 7 over 1, so it becomes 1/7. And now we can multiply straight across. 7 times 1 is 7, 2 times 7 is 14. And then notice how my answer is not there. Remember, it doesn't mean it's wrong. We need to try and simplify. Since 7 is prime, we need to ask ourselves, can 7 go into 14? Yes, so that means I can divide my numerator and denominator by 7. 7 divided by 7 is 1. 14 divided by 7 is 2. So my answer is 1/2. So my answer is A. I'm going to write it over here where I can see it. And then the last question. Dylan purchased beef at the local farmer's market for $17.25. Dylan bought 1.5 pounds of beef. How much did he pay per pound? So per is one of my keywords. Now that means I can multiply or divide. So then we need to ask ourselves, do they give us a total or do we need a total? So they gave us a total amount that he spent. So we're going to divide what he spent, $17.25, by the amount of pounds, which is 1.5. And then to divide, my first number goes inside. 17.25 divided by 1.5. And then remember, we cannot have decimals on the outside, so we need to move it over. And since I only have one digit after my decimal, I'm going to move it over once. So it becomes 15. And whatever I do to the outside, I do to the inside. So now I have 15 on the outside and 172.5 on the inside. And then I need to bring my decimal up. I need 3 digits before my decimal in my answer and 1 after. And now I can divide. 15 cannot go into 1, so I'm going to put a 0. 15 can go into 17 one time. We subtract and we get 2 left over. Bring down my 2. 15 can go into 22 one time. We subtract. We have to borrow. 12 minus 5 is 7. Bring down my 5. And then if I look at my answer choices, I have 11 and then 8 decimal. And then the only answer that has 11 and then decimal is B. So 5 should be my next number. Well, if I check 15 times 5, we get 75. So it goes 75 times. So my answer would be B. So now if I type in my answer choices, I got DAB, DAB, and I did it. So if you still need help, go ahead and go back. You can click on the link again and try and take the escape room again. That way, the more you do it, the more you practice, the more likely you are to pass your test tomorrow. Remember, the questions are just like the ones on the test. So if you want to do good, I suggest you keep retaking the escape room. You can take it as many times as you want. Don't forget to show me your work. Go back into Google Classroom and upload a picture of your work. Good luck!